And so we have this article and this meme that we created. And this actually came in response to a conversation that Jordan Peterson was having with one of his many guests, which was becoming very convoluted and complicated and complex, as one can imagine two intellectuals trying to get at the truth beyond the veil of physical reality, to get at the esoteric truth using such exoteric mechanisms as rational mind, mechanical mind, because that is another way to understand, to comprehend the division that all of mechanical reality is exoteric. It is surface level, and the esoteric truth is on a deeper level. It is actually foundational to the exoteric level. It is the depths of the exoteric. And what came out of our response to them was this notion, because they were talking about achieving great heights. Serendipitously, someone else said, in response to our book and the cover of the book, the title, the subtitle, and so on and so forth, they replied saying, wow, that's a very tall order. But a tall order becomes something else entirely when you look at it from another perspective. And here, with this meme, we have what appears to be a very tall order. We are at great heights in this meme, looking down into the well. And the deeper we have to dig that well, the greater height that we experience relative to the depths of the well. So, in a very real way, just from a level of physical perspective, physical reality, and the relationship between the bottom of the well and our relative position in relation to how deep that well goes, the deeper down we can see, the greater the relative height we are at. So if your vision can penetrate into the depths of your earth, of your microcosm, then you will invariably reach greater heights in macrocosm. And that's what we were showing in our thumbnail for today's live stream. Da Vinci's Vitruvian Man, yes, but a more esoteric, alchemical version of that, where we have the individual in microcosm, and on the periphery of that individual, we have the macrocosm, and understanding that the human being is the earth in microcosm, and that where our physical body ends, the physical body of the earth begins. And as above, so below, as within, so without. But if we comprehend that all physical bodies draw upon the same source, they all have roots in the metaphysical. All those roots converge on this thing that at first we call the root system, and then we call the trunk of the tree. Then we are all connected. But practically speaking, there has to be an exchange of information. There has to be an experience, a knowing of that connection. Not a belief, but a knowing. There must be a crossing beyond the veil, clear vision past the surface, beyond the facade, into the depths of the foundations of the earth in macrocosm and of the self in microcosm, our own earth, our hume, because that's the hume in human being. It means earth. And what came to us was this little allegory, this little analogy of a well. And our inspiration was, how do we heal the division? Our background is, of course, the Torii Gate of shrines and temples in Japan, the same two T's in Attlas that form the Torii Gate, the pillars of Jacquin and Boaz of the Tree of Life. As we pass under the gate, through the pillars, we see a union of masculine and feminine, of objective and subjective, of heaven and earth, of conscious and mechanical, of yin and yang, of all the dualities of the universe. There is a reconciliation of the division in the Torii Gate. But how do we make that practical and meaningful in our life? Because knowing that, or thinking that, or believing that, or conceptualizing that is one thing. But how can we comprehend it and apply it in a practical, meaningful way in microcosm, in our own earth, within the orbit of our planetary dominion, within the confines and limits of our sovereignty? Because you are the Lord of your kingdom. You are the Lord of your fiefdom. You have complete control, complete freedom of choice over your world in microcosm, your mental body, your emotional body, and your physical body. Now, because all of those are linked to mechanical nature, and we have agents of mechanical nature, active agents that work for mechanical nature, that operate within those bodies, including the mind, the heart, the motor instinctive sexual center. At times, you may feel that you're decidedly out of control. And yet, much of the time, not all of the time, but much of the time, you may observe that some of these mechanical agents, be it fear or lust or pride or shame or gluttony or laziness, as these agents attempt to take control of your mechanical apparatus and your physical vessel, you may observe that you have this willpower, and you can resist the automatic, deterministic way in which these agents function within your kingdom, which you lord over. And we say that specifically you, the you that you identify as, the you that your family sees is real, the you that's referenced on your government identification. And let's not get into all the straw man arguments about false identities and all this kind of conspiracy stuff. Let's focus on the you that was born into this world, the mortal vessel, the mortal you, the mechanical apparatus and physical vessel. And that represents one of the pillars behind us here. The other pillar is represented by manas, divine mind. Hume, earth, manas, divine mind. Hume, manas, human. What is that manas, really? And how do we work with it? How do we get this one pillar to reach across and create that arch across the top and connect the two? And what came to us was a very beautiful and simple analogy, a very beautiful and simple allegory, which we illustrated in this meme. Oh, we can make it even a little bit bigger, right? And we asked the question, what good is a source of fresh, crystal clear water flowing deep in the earth? What good is it to anyone if it remains deep underground, undiscovered, and more importantly, untapped? And how do we tap it?